That's why I'm very compelled nga, to be honest about it. I'm very compelled to recommend to postpone class opening. Thank you. Thank you. Let's go back to that slide in readiness component. There are 9 blocks ito. There are 9 blocks of the readiness component, USEC. These are the blocks that we need to fulfill, in order to be ready by August 24. Yusek, at sa tingin ko may kulang tayo isa dito eh. Ang kulang dito ay yung teacher and non-teaching staff welfare. In this presentation, wala akong nakitang that anything that deals with teaching and non-teaching staff's welfare. And in your press con on Monday, and let me just quote, there was a question na binato kay Yusek Ancevilla, and let me just read the quote. Ang tanong niya, in cases where teachers get COVID-19, who will pay for the testing? Ang sagot ni Yusek Sevilla, the 2020 budget does not have allocation for testing and hospitalization, but there's collaboration with the Department of Health and LGUs to shoulder the cost of testing and hospitalization. And then she goes, DepEd has a pool of contributions from its employees to help teachers, staff, and personnel who get infected with COVID. From what I gathered here, Yusek, is there's uncertainty in terms of how do we test teachers and how do we address their needs if they get infected. Ang punto ko dito, Yusek, is itong SLM natin, we will need the cooperation and the support of all 800,000 teachers. Sama na natin in non-teaching about 900,000 teachers, 900,000 teaching and non-teaching personnel. And para maging effective itong self-learning module, itong distance learning, we need to make sure that our teachers and non-teaching personnel will give their full cooperation and their full enthusiasm in terms of executing this distance learning. Pero paano natin aasahan yung kanilang full cooperation kung takot sila? Kung alam nila na wala silang pupuntahan kung sila ay kung sila ay naging positive, kung sila ay may symptoms, kung sila ay lumala yung sakit nila, paano natin mahihikayat sila na tumulong i-operationalize itong distance learning natin kung alam nila na wala silang pupuntahan? And this is my concern because the teachers is an essential part of the success of this learning continuity plan. Without their confidence, all of this will fail. And kaya ako nababahala, to be honest, Yusek, because in your readiness, we failed to look at the plight of our teachers and our non-teaching staff. And that is consistent with the answer during the press con. In fact, natanong ka nga kung ilan yung nag-COVID positive, but you didn't give an answer at that time, no? Despite there is a task force that monitors all of this. So my point is, we need to make sure that the welfare of our teachers and non-teaching staff is well taken care of. Kung hindi man sa inyong sa budget, may mga ibang mekanismo naman. For example, PhilHealth. Lahat naman tayo bilang government employee, may PhilHealth tayo. Meron din tayong GSIS, na pwede tayong mag-take up ng loan or mag-take up ng whatever grant. But of course, the department needs to make sure that this is operationalized. Ngayon, Yusek, my question is, as of this point, what are we doing? What is the department doing to make sure that the plight of the teachers are well secured, not only addressed but secured as of this point? Na kung mayroon pong mangyari sa kanila, kung kakailangan nila yung testing nila, at kung lumabas na sila at nahawaan sila, meron na silang pupuntahan at kukunan. We need to assure them Hindi lang yung just open-ended na a contribution. Assurance is very important in this case because without assurance, you don't have confidence. And without confidence, all of this will fail.
Mr. Chair, and I would, with respect to the financial aspect, we will request Undersecretary Sevilla to provide the answer. But with respect to how we see the teacher and non-teaching staff welfare from the health perspective, kasama po naman yan doon sa aming number 8. Malawak po yung health standards na yan, hindi lang po yan protocols, kung hindi yung support that we give. So dalawa pong components ito, itong health standards na ito, and in fact, it covers also the students if should we allow face-to-face at some point in the future. But that health standards is paired with the alternative work arrangements that we have. At doon nabanggit ko na mayroon namang kasama doon na testing protocol. Ang tingin ko na hindi malinaw talaga at nakita ko rin yung tugon ni Undersecretary Sevilla is the hospitalization component. And right now, nabanggit nyo yung aming monitoring. We have been able to work with our internal support mechanisms, whether on within budget or off budget mechanism as a DepEd family. Pero yung baka ang mas makakasagot Mr. Chair ay si Undersecretary Sevilla with respect to the hospitalization. So talagang PhilHealth ngayon ang component dyan, pero wala kaming my understanding is a subsidy for the hospitalization itself. Pero yung pong testing ay malinaw doon na kung related to yung deployment of a teaching or non-teaching staff for na pumapasok sa mga na-deploy na may physical, whether in an intermittent basis, ay nakalagay po doon that we will facilitate the testing of the teacher. And when we say facilitate, it is either we can spend for it or through partnerships be able to secure the testing of the personnel. We committed to the media persons, Mr. Chair, and we will submit also to this committee an update on our monitoring of our COVID cases. As I mentioned, ang nakalagay lang kasi po doon, and which we have to clarify with the task force, ay cumulative po ito. We have figures for active cases at saka yung mga probable cases, but we just want to be very sure before we put this information out, Mr. Chair. But we will submit also to this committee the latest update on the COVID situation within the DepEd family.
Yusek, but ilan na po ang within your DepEd system, ilan na po ba ang na-infect with COVID?
Ang cumulative figure po na meron which is subject to further validation in the sense of from a management perspective and the task force ay ang cumulative po ay 598 from the field reports and 11 from CO reports, and this is a combination of personnel, teaching and non-teaching, and learners as well.
Itong 598, Yusek, sino po ang nagbayad nung kanilang testing and then yung aftercare?
Hindi ko po kayo masasagot. I do not have that information right now. Dito po sa 11 malamang kasama dito si Secretary Briones, for example, who tested positive, and she was swabbed by the Department of Health, for example, at that time. So hindi doon po sa mga na-expose kay Secretary ay may ibang nagka-symptoms na na test, pero hindi ko po kayo masagot kung saan nang galing yung actual funding. I know that there has also been some that nitong huli itong MECQ uh, at nag-positive na we committed reimbursement. But in the field, hindi ko po masagot kayo dun sa lahat ng cases na ito, Mr. Chair.
Yeah. Yes, Yusek, I just want to put emphasis, no? Gusto ko idiin rin na we really need to take care of our people, no? In your case, your constituents, aside from the parents and children, are the teachers. And they're the most important component to the success of this LCP. At alam ko yung mga teachers natin, kagaya natin, natatakot rin sila lumabas eh. Alam nila pag lumalabas sila, delikado yung kanilang buhay. Alam nila pag nagkaka-interact sila, delikado yung kanilang buhay. So without any security as to testing, as to aftercare, mahirap po talagang parang hindi buo yung kanilang loob para lumabas at gawin yung kanilang dapat gawin. At I think what the department needs to assure is their plight, no, their welfare, and not only assurance but secure talaga na kung may mangyari sa kanila, meron silang pupuntahan. I would like to
Mr.
recognize
Chair?
Yusek Sevilla. Yeah, Yusek
Yes.
Sevilla. Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Kasi I would also like to contextualize my response to the media because the question raised during the press con is very specific. The question was, is there a budget cover or will there be financial assistance given to our personnel who will be found positive? And the question was also specific to treatment and hospitalization, not testing. So let me explain, Mr. Chair, our stand on this. And we need the lawmakers to support us on this. The budget law does not include any budget item for treatment and hospitalization. I think in all government agencies, not just DepEd. It is only DOH who has the authority to use their budget for medical treatment and hospitalization. So even if we want to even pay for their treatment and hospitalization, the result will be a COA finding to our department because there is no budget item that will authorize us to do that. What we have right now in our budget, and we have realigned actually some of our regular programs, is the supplies and support mechanism to implement our minimum health standards. It is in number 8, and Yusek Napo is right in saying that this is not only for teaching position, but this covers all teaching, non-teaching, teaching related, and all administrative staff as well. So meron po kami Department Order number 14, and this is an issuance, a guidelines for the health standards to be implemented, not just in the offices, but also in the schools. And imagine how many schools we have right now, Mr. Chair. And we have allowed the use of MOE to buy for the prevention, disinfection, decontamination. And the testing actually is also included, Mr. Chair. But if we will have all the testing expenses of all the personnel and the learners, ay talaga pong magkukulang ang budget ng DepEd dito. Kaya ang nangyari, we are following the protocol of the Department of Health in terms of testing. Like for example, the eligibility or the qualification before you will undergo rapid testing and the swab testing. The rapid testing as well, we coordinated with the Commission and Audit, and they said that we really have to seek a legal basis for us to use our funds on this. So it will be very helpful, Mr. Chair, if the legislators will also give us the authority. And of course, if there's a legal basis, we also need the funding cover. And we have talked to DBM about this, and I think the limitation is one, legal basis. Second is the availability of fund. But rest assured that all government employees, including DepEd, is covered under the PhilHealth insurance. And anything that will happen to them will be covered by this PhilHealth coverage. And our employee welfare and the finance strand will be giving the information and the protocol and procedures. In fact, dun po sa mga cases na sinabi ni Yusek Nepo, ay namomonitor po namin at nabibigyan ng assistance ang ating mga empleyado, including the learners, as Yusek Nepo said. Yung pong monitoring natin, I think, is really off budget, out of the personal care and effort of the department. And I think malaki rin po ang tulong ng local government units. And Senator Win, you really know this. Kahit po kami ay mga taga-DepEd, sasagutin ng local government pag alam nyo na meron pong kaso na estudyante, lalo na po kung teacher. So this is in cooperation with DOH, the local government unit, and the PhilHealth. But if there's a need to also provide under the DepEd budget, for example, financial assistance and medication or treatment, then it has to be authorized by a law.
Yeah,
Thank
but
you.
Yusek, you're absolutely correct, no? All of us being government employees, meron tayong PhilHealth eh. Automatic na yan eh. Meron rin tayong GSIS, automatic na yan. But have you networked with PhilHealth to give special attention to our teachers, to our non-teaching personnel, considering that they will be executing a relatively risky learning continuity plan? My point of the matter here is they will be going out now or pupuntahan sila ng magulang. No? Either way, may interaction. Ang punto ko lang naman is have we exerted extra effort to secure their health needs and their aftercare needs? Granted, wala tayong budget sa 2020, but there are other ways, no? Like PhilHealth nga. So have you networked with PhilHealth and make sure that our teachers get some form of security?
Yes, Mr. Chair, our Bureau of Health, Bureau of Human Resource, and Employee Welfare are now, there's an ongoing negotiation with PhilHealth on this. And ang ginagawa rin po namin talaga, Mr. Chair, is yung localized. Kasi it cannot be reported to the central office or the regional office. It has to happen really where the case is. At yung pong PhilHealth is really working on this as well. So we will have the communication and the information as soon as nagawa na po natin o na-finalize na natin yung partnership with PhilHealth on this.
Yusek, it's just gusto ko lang for example, if I'm a teacher and in my duty of executing the learning continuity plan, nahawaan ako. Hindi natin maalis yan eh. No, may mga storya nga, pumunta lang sa mall, nahawaan na. So assuming nahawaan siya, ano yung gagawin niya? Saan siya pwedeng kumuha ng tulong para magpa-test? Of course, bumili ng gamot, and then of course, may aftercare pa yan kung lumala yung sagot niya. So, yung sakit niya. So, ano yung gagawin ng isang guro para ma-access itong lahat?
Mr. Chair, it is in the Department Order number 14, all the procedures and protocols. So we have a COVID task force down to school level. So the teacher will have to report to our task force in the school. At meron pong coordinator dyan, ibabato po kaagad yan sa division office. The division office will coordinate with DOH and the local government unit. At yun nga pong nangyayari, yung pong testing na binibigay sa ating mga naging cases ay courtesy of the DOH or LGU. Kaya yung tanong niyo po kanina, sinong gumagastos, most of them were accommodated by our LGU. But of course, some of the employees opted to do their own, lalo na po yung kaya naman, nagmamadali rin. Halimbawa, there are cases na emergency talaga. The question is, when they go to finance and they want to reimburse, and when we ask COA if we are allowed to reimburse, we were given a question that we need a legal basis to do that.
I think right now the fastest way is to tap PhilHealth and to tap GSIS for other needs. No, ito talaga yung mga insurance and safety nets na built-in sa atin bilang isang government employee. And ang ano ko lang naman is, I know PhilHealth now, nababasa niyo, I'm sure they have their hands full in answering anomalies. Kailangan talaga extra effort to make sure that mabigyan sila kaagad ng reimbursement, mabigyan kaagad sila ng tulong. Dahil alam ko yung PhilHealth rin matagal kung hindi kayo magkakaroon ng extra effort to link up with them. Ito lang ako, nababahala lang ako kasi lalabas na yung mga teacher natin eh. And kausap ko yung mga ibang teacher natin dito sa Valenzuela, natatakot talaga sila. And the only way na pwede nating himasin yung kanilang takot, i-assure natin, i-secure natin yung kanilang protection. Yun ang aking punto. And that's why I'm very compelled nga, to be honest about it, I'm very compelled to recommend to postpone class opening if we don't address the welfare of our teachers and non-teaching staff, because they're as important as all of these things that we are talking about. No, if we don't secure their health condition, if we don't secure their aftercare condition, might as well postpone class opening dahil malalagay talaga sila sa delikado. So just to move forward, Yusek, and I would
Mr.
like to
Chair?
ask. Yes, Yusek.
Just a manifestation, a quick manifestation that in habang naandito pa po itong readiness components, that yung number 8, because even if I say it is subsumed there, I think it must be expressly stated as you observed, that number 8 should not be as in other words, might have a limited sense of health standards, but really make it express here that it also includes teacher and non-teaching staff welfare, so that it is clear that it is covered, and that also allows us to really specifically address that in our briefings, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Yes.
Just a manifestation.